Hello, imaginary friends, and welcome to the Imaginaries Literary Podcast. I'm Timothy. With me are Caleb and Daniel, and we are all aspiring authors, and we are here to share our own writing experience and tips and some of our stories in some of the episodes. So today, we want to talk to you specifically about NaNoWriMo.
Yes, and before we start with what NaNoWriMo is, I want to just say, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share everything, because we appreciate it and we need it. First, let's start with what is it? Timothy, do you want to tell us what NaNoWriMo is?
So, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It's basically a chance for people who have always wanted to write a book, or people who feel stuck in their creative process, to have kind of a extra incentive to start writing or to get writing and get to do it as part of a larger community of people who are all writing at the same time.
A perfect summary by somebody who's actually done it. Because how many times have you done it, Timothy?
I've done it twice now.
And what was the experience like for you?
I enjoyed it. It's a little too frenetic for what I would prefer, but I enjoy the extra motivation it gives. If I had my ideal length of time to write a book, I'd say about 3 months is my preferred speed to be working at. But I very much enjoyed the two I did.
You shared one of them with
which
me and
one
Daniel,
was that?
correct?
Just to remind me.
Innocence.
Oh, that was pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Considering you did it in a month, man, that was really good.
That one was one that I had previously written as a film script.
I think that's okay.
And was basically adapting it into a novel form.
Right.
So it was a story that I knew really well and had poured a lot of thought into previously. So that I think gave me a bit of a head start on.
All right, so let's talk about the rules. So the first rule is the writing begins at 12 a.m. Whoever's up at that ungodly hour, I'm always up past that, on November 1st, and then it ends on 11:59 p.m. on November 30th. Not 11:59 and 30 seconds. Not 11:59 and 12 seconds. It just ends at 11:59 on November 30th. In whatever time zone you're in. So a little pro tip, if you get on a plane and you just start flying west, then you'll have more time to write.
Yeah, so start in New Zealand, end in Hawaii, you get a little extra time.
But that's rule one. Word count to win. You must write at least 50,000 words during the writing period. This can be a complete novel or the first 50,000 words of a longer work. But Timothy, what was the length of yours? The two
I think both of mine were around 60,000 words.
Cool, very cool. Was that your goal?
That was my goal. Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Whenever I start a book, I kind of have a word count anyway, and I kind of naturally break that into the number of chapters I want, and kind of have a target word count for each chapter. Which helped me a lot for NaNoWriMo, because it was like I knew if I wrote one chapter of this many words a day, 30 chapters done.
Okay, I know we're all fringe, sort of non-conventional people, but how does your robot brain know this story should probably have this many words?
One, I kind of compare it to other books I love that are similar in style.
Okay.
So if I'm writing a Winnie the Pooh-ish type of story, I know it's about 30,000 words.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If I'm writing something more Chronicles of Narnia-ish, it's more like 50,000. Cool. So I kind of know based on stuff that material I love, and kind of know roughly the theme I'm going for. And then also based on other books I've written, I'm like, well, I want it to be about the length of this other book I wrote, and that was 60,000 or 50,000 or 30,000 or whatever, and so I want it to be similar to that. And
that's why, dude, that is so weird to me. That is so foreign to me. It's not weird. I don't want to say weird. It's so foreign to me. Yeah. It's like, wow, I love that. That's so cool. Okay. On to more rules. Here are the rest of the rules. Genre, you can write in any genre, including fan fiction, poetic novels, or metafiction. Language, you can write in any language. It's just that you won't get a ton of people that are speaking English. If you're writing in Japanese, then you won't get them in English. Age, this is actually important. You must be at least 13 years old to participate. If you're under 17, you can sign up for the Young Writers Program.
Well, Caleb, you can do that one.
Only if I shave. You can have co-writers if you want to do like a double team or
Do
whatever.
they have to do more words?
But each author must each author has to contribute 50,000 words. Coherence, your writing must be coherent, and you can't just copy and paste to reach your word count. So it's like it has to be like a full story, and it can't just be like all work and no play makes Jack a boring boy. You know. The goal. Okay, so here's the overall goal of NaNoWriMo is to get people writing. The most important thing is to keep writing, even if you fall behind or face distractions. So those are all the rules. And I want to start with the first tip is forget all the rules. It's more about writing than anything else. Just write. And I mean, even it says like the goal of it is to get people to write. So write. And this is like the way that I look at NaNoWriMo is that it's just like motivation. To get people to write more and to get people like a community behind you that you've never met, that you don't know, that you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise.
Which is any community.
So just write. Yeah, it's community. So write. But Timothy, you have to have some tips because you've done it before. So tell me a tip or 2 or 3 or 7, and then I can give you some more that I have just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would say, well, you're not supposed to write anything until November 1st. Spend a lot of time thinking and planning what you want to write and how you want to write it.
But does that include like if I wanted to write like a character synopsis of the various characters I want to?
No, you can write that.
Okay.
You're not supposed to start on your book itself,
Okay.
the book proper.
Okay.
So you could write outlines or characters things but like chapter 1 begins on November 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
Or chapter if you want to start on a different
So
chapter.
yeah, take time, prepare yourself, like do as much prep as you can to know what your story is, what your characters are, what style you want to write it in, so you're not trying to figure that out. My next tip is keep going. Like don't stop to edit your work as you go. Like
So you're thinking just like word vomit?
Not necessarily word vomit, although you can. I mean, a cousin of mine has done NaNoWriMo a couple times, and she literally just word vomits all her thoughts about the story. She'll write out like 100,000 words, and then spend the next year editing it into something more coherent and make a book out of it. But she kind of gets all her thoughts on paper, and then does the hard work of piecing it all together afterwards. I personally like to work the other way, where I think about it all ahead of time. So when I do it, my goal is that I write a chapter a day, and it's a fairly coherent, complete chapter, and that by the end of NaNoWriMo, I have a solid first draft of a novel.
So for those of us who are wandering writers who don't like to outline, I brainstorm before I write, but I don't outline.
Okay.
I hate outlining.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of ideas
for
on the
somebody
page.
who's wandering. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So for wandering writers, what would your prep be for them? What would your tip be for them?
I don't heavily outline. My outline consists of chapter titles.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's something though.
That's awesome.
When I start writing, and the chapter title kind of suggests to me what that chapter is about, and then I just write the chapter.
Interesting.
But spend a lot of time thinking about it, thinking about the characters, spending time with the characters, spending time in whatever world. Obviously, if you're writing a fantasy or a fairy tale, you need to spend more time exploring the world itself. to have a grasp of it. But even if you're not, if you're doing a historical piece, you know, you want to be immersing yourself in the time period,
Right.
or if it's set in a different country, you want to be doing cultural research. But you want to spend as much time wandering through your story before you start writing it, if you can. And you want to keep going. Once you start running, you can always go back at the end. You know, December, you can start editing from the beginning again and rewriting everything. And if you come up with a great idea of like, oh, I should have done that in chapter 1. Yeah. My tip is start writing from that point as if you did it in chapter 1.
Yeah. Right.
Don't
That's
go back
wise.
and
That's
fix it in
good.
chapter 1. Just assume, okay, I'm at chapter 5. I just decided this is what actually happened in chapter 1, and I'm going to write as if that I've already written that, because it saves you time.
One of the big things that NaNoWriMo promotes or pushes is like sharing your work every day. So like November 1st, it's like share what you wrote, share your 5,000 word, or not 5,000 words, but share what you wrote today, share your goals, like share everything. That is so backwards to how I write, because like Stephen, I'm gonna bring up Stephen King, surprise, but Stephen King is like, you write your first draft with your door shut, and then you write your second draft with your door wide open.
I like that
So for
description.
me, my writing is terrible on my first draft. It is very much word vomit. It's like your cousin. A lot of it is very much.
just
word
call his
vomit.
cousin
I'll have,
word
like,
vomit?
A couple of no. No, she word vomits for NaNoWriMo, but don't tell her I call her word vomit. But no, like for me, it's like I'll get like a couple of sentences in there where it's like, oh, that's actually a good one, but every other one I'm like, I gotta rework that. Oh man, so for me, it would be incredibly frightening to share my work on like, here's what I wrote today, and it's like, oh, that's trash. And I know that the goal is just to get you to write, but like for me, it's like so backwards. But did you, Timothy? Did you share your stuff like first draft, like push it out there right away?
I did. You definitely don't have to, and
Yeah.
I would say anyone who doesn't feel comfortable sharing their first drafts, don't do it, because it'll probably actually keep you from writing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can see that.
So-
I can see where it goes both ways. I can see where people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," and it's like, "Oh, well, then I'm gonna write 5,000 words tonight,"
Right.
you know. Where I can see it the other way, where people are like, "Eh," and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. Never
Yeah.
mind.
But if even the fear of doing it or the insecurity of doing it
yeah,
is strong enough that you won't like let yourself off the hook with that
yeah,
and just do what you need to for you, right? Because that's really the point of NaNoWriMo, is to get you writing.
yeah,
I shared each chapter as I finished them on my
And what was that
Patreon.
like?
So, which was
Linked
pretty
in
much
the
every
bio.
day. For me, there's a momentum as I get near the end where it kind of slingshots me. So I think I wrote like the last 5 chapters in 2 days,
Jeez,
something like
that's
that.
awesome.
Um,
That's awesome. Do you know,
you know-
word count?
Huh?
Like word count for those 5 chapters? Do you have one?
Probably about 2,000
Nice.
a chapter, something like that.
Very cool.
Mine's behind a paywall. You have
Yeah.
to be a member of. You have to pay at least $1 to be a month to join my Patreon. But
Worth it.
but then like all my patrons can
Worth it.
read it, and both of my
Nice.
NaNoWriMo novels are still on my Patreon. So
Nice.
anyone
Do
who
it.
joins my Patreon can go and see, like, these are literally my first drafts posted as I wrote them before the book was finished.
Nice.
So you can kind of see what that's like.
Is that? Sorry, I'm just thinking about Innocence, and I'm just wondering, is that the one with the little? It's like a boy version of the Childlike Empress, kind of. And they're in a boat, and there are stars, but there are worlds, and then they're like.
No, that's the tale of
That's
the Related.
relighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember,
No,
but-
Innocence is when they have the garden. They have the
Yeah.
garden.
Oh,
And they like
yeah.
go out of the garden.
Oh, that was good too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was
Yeah.
the other one?
Yeah. Oh, that was
Can
great.
you tell us
yeah.
what the other one was that you did for?
What was the other one about?
The other one is called The Book of Six, and I don't think we went through that one together.
It's double Lloyd
Right.
Alexander's.
Just thinking that.
Yes.
I think Stephen King is the only non-British author that we have like mentioned so far.
That we talked about. Yeah, maybe.
But he's like 20% of the
and
content.
I just keep bringing
that
him up, man.
Yes,
He's the
Lloyd
only American
Alexander
that I know.
definitely contributed to the title of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Good. As he
Cool.
should. What would you say to somebody who was about to start, Timothy? Like somebody who's about to start, what was the number one best advice that you could give them? What would you say to them now?
Go for it. Give yourself time. Make sure you carve out a time and space each day.
Every single day, yeah.
Every day. And I would, another tip, plan that out ahead of time. Plan when and where you're going to write each day.
Nice. Yeah. You should
and-
already
and give yourself
technically,
time
You should already
for
have
it.
that done. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely time.
I think I usually, for both of mine, I think it took about an hour and a half a day to do the...
Nice.
Is about what I took. I think some days it was more like 2 hours. Some days it might have been a bit shorter, but...
And you were writing how many words a day?
I think 3,000
Okay, mister. I got all my words.
or
in one.
2,000
I think
something
2,000
like
would
that.
be
I don't.
enough.
That's awesome.
I think
That's
I think it was 2,000 sounds
So
about
that
right.
I think that's a good goal
Towards
for
the
me.
end,
And then
towards the end, it ramped up a little as I was like
Yeah.
just excited to getting to the conclusion of the
Right.
story. But
Yeah.
I think it was about 2,000.
So Daniel, you've never done
No,
NaNoWriMo,
the closest
right?
I've come is trying to get a book done in 7 years. Yeah, that was a chore, and I don't know if I can do it again.
Well done.
Thank you. But I like okay, what I like though is that I think like even those who and we were talking about it last time a little bit how like there should be all kinds of different writers, you know, there should be different kinds of people writing. A writer is not like one kind of person. That includes
Right.
the way that they prefer to prepare, and the way they prefer to write, the kinds of content that they write, etc. But like, yeah. So I was looking at like the pages on NaNoWriMo to prepare for this, and just kind of, I'm like, oh, this is kind of corporate, scale it. But then they say some really cool things about how they want to bring children out of the, background and kind of like,
Yeah.
get their hearts on the page. And I mean, I don't know if they used any of that language, but that was the essence. And it reminded me of like an English teacher that I once had who was like, you know what, it doesn't matter if you're good now. What matters is that you keep writing, because the more you write, the more you have to be intentional, the more you have to be purposeful in your words, and the more you learn to be. And the quicker that becomes, the easier that comes. And if you just don't try, you're going to be exactly where you are with your word choices 10 years from now that you were now, that you are now.
So what do you tell somebody who hasn't changed in the last 10 years as
You
a
have.
writer?
You honestly have. We are living.
You definitely have, Caleb.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
We can attest to that.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
But yeah, I know it's going to be a big challenge for me, though.
And so have you, Dan.
Have I?
Yeah, I think
In a
that
good
we
way?
all have.
Oh,
I think we
definitely.
all
I
feel like
have.
I've gotten worse.
In a good
Very
way.
good way.
Okay.
Well, no, Daniel, you have written faster. I'll say
Okay.
that. You've definitely written much faster.
Faster than 7 years?
Which is fantastic. Yeah, it's faster than 7 years. I mean, even writing a short story in 2 weeks or something, that was
a
amazing.
big deal for me.
One of my favorite things is to see how much we've changed, the three of us. And like when I'm in other writers groups and stuff, and I've seen other people progress over the years, that's been awesome. And to see you guys progress has been awesome. To see myself, because I've gone back and been like, oh, like even I went back and saw the Banshee, like I reread and reworked the Banshee, and it was like, wow, okay, I got to rework this. And I try to keep it the same as possible, but like the stuff that I'm working on now, I'm like, man, I just feel so much more confident about it. It's so much better. But
I like the Banshee too.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate. I'm very proud of the
Okay, good.
Banshee. I think it's great, and I think that you reading
And if you're
it,
watching
like,
this and you haven't listened to the Banshee, go
Check
find
it
it
out.
on our YouTube page and watch
Or is there
it.
a link
It's
that's
great.
going to
I
appear
would-
right now?
I would appreciate that. Right? Yeah.
Probably.
But anyway, what I would say is I think that it would be really cool because I haven't followed anyone during NaNoWriMo except for Timothy a little bit when you did the Innocence, you were sharing it with us but it was like weekly, it wasn't daily, so it was like weekly you were sharing some of the stuff.
Yeah.
And to see the polished writing go better. So like I'm speaking terribly.
You polished writing
I'm
go better.
wondering if during this month, seeing people that are just like struggling and just getting their feet wet again, and then by the end, like what does their first chapter look like compared to their last chapter? Like the first day and the last day, like how good is it? How bad is it? And if you have taken part in NaNoWriMo, leave a comment and let us know what your experience was, what your, like from the first day to the last day. Like, do you feel like you got better? Did you get confidence? Share that with us. I would love to hear your stories, and share your stories with us too. I'd love to hear your stories, but I'd love to hear about your experience too, and like what you learned about yourself, what you learned about writing. And yeah, and I want to give a tip, and the best tip that I think that I can give is not only for NaNoWriMo, but for life too. Don't compare yourself to anybody else except yourself. So like if you're writing and you're sharing every single day, and you're seeing Daniel also sharing every day, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is a million times better than me. This guy is incredible. I'm just going to quit. You're going to quit every time because you're going to find somebody who's better than you. But if you compare yourself to only yourself, who you were yesterday, then you can progress. And then you can build like confidence and whatever. Because the first day, if you're just starting out and you're going the first day and you're starting to write again, unless you are a Daniel, you're not going to be very good. It's probably going to be not your best work. It's not going to be your best work. How about I say?
Well, it might not be my best work either if I do that.
It may not, maybe not. But for me, I feel like by the end of that month, if you're writing faithfully every single day and you're pushing hard and you're like reworking all those juices again, then I think that you will find that you are going to be so much better than you were the first day. So that would be my tip. That's my motivation. I think you just need to write. I think the greatest thing about NaNoWriMo is the fact that people are actually writing. They're getting out there, they're doing it, and just keep that motivation. Just go. Just write. Do it. And then share your stories. I would love to see them. DM us and share your stories with us. I would love to hear them.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
This is my question. So I'm transitioning jobs. I've interviewed like 1,000 times, like probably a lot of other people right now, especially in big cities.
Yeah.
So it's been incredibly busy, like preparing things for the next interview and whatnot, all the time. And then I'm kind of like stay-at-home dadding for the last month as well. When I get that job, I don't even know what the hours are going to be. I don't know if they're going to coincide well with my wife's hours. Hopefully they do. My kid's in school. I want him to be, parented. I want to spend time with him. But also, frankly, I love you guys. I love friends. I do love people, but I'm a little bit of an introvert. How do we do this? Like, how do you spend 2 hours a day when you've got life to take care of? You know what I mean? Like, do you take out things? Like, what do you take out? And how do you still feel like you're going to be okay the next day?
I think it would have to be like something that you could do. This isn't, I hate doing this, but you could pick a hierarchy.
You're suggesting
of what's
I do
important.
something
So
that I
like,
hate, that you hate. Okay.
Yes, probably. Okay. I guess this is how I would say that I do it. So it's like work, and then under that is like family, or above that on the weekends is 100% family.
Except for this.
I try to see my family as much as possible. Yeah. Except for this, and then everything else is like a jumbled mess. So like if I want to see friends, if I want to watch television, or if I want to read a book or whatever, and it's like, well, what's the most important thing right now? Like, what are my goals for this week? What are my goals for the month? What are my goals for the year? If I'm trying to finish a book, something's going to have to get out. And because I have those non-negotiables, I have to be at work, Monday through Friday, sometimes over the weekends too, which sucks. But like, I work a lot. And so when I'm at work, like, this is what I have to do. But if I can eliminate something like television or relaxation time or sleep, because I don't sleep.
You really don't.
I sacrifice sleep. I really don't. Like this week I had a day where I only slept 2 hours and then I went back to work. So I was like, it was ridiculous. But there is something that you're going to have to sacrifice. And whether it be sleep or relaxation time or entertainment time or friend time, just figure out what your non-negotiables are, and then figure out what you can give up and start to give up those things so that you can write. Because you need to write, Daniel. You need to write. Like, the world needs to hear more of your voice. The world needs to see more of your writing and hear and read.
The world needs more people like you who are willing to say that.
No,
and
no.
it's not just.
I'm saying it because it's truth.
Okay. But that doesn't mean anybody else would say it. Like, if they thought that, you know.
Yeah. Timothy would say it.
I would.
See?
You guys are wonderful. Okay.
Ditto. But anyway, we love you, Daniel, and you should
Thank
be
you.
able to. But
Thank
yes,
you.
if you're in the community, please, community, write in the comments, what do you do? How do you schedule out your
Yes.
days? Not just for NaNoWriMo, but for NaNoWriMo, how do you schedule out? And then also in your day-to-day life, when you don't have the whole community support, how do you write? How do you find the time to write? And where do you find your motivation? Timothy, are you planning to write NaNoWriMo this year?
No, not this year.
Oh, you're not gonna. Oh.
Are you doing something else? Are you working on something else?
I am working on a project. It's coming along very slowly.
Cool. Daniel, are you planning on doing NaNoWriMo?
If I thought you guys were doing it, so are you not doing it?
I am also working on something.
Okay.
So no.
You know what?
Daniel, I would love it if you
will.
did it and we could like post.
I will do it.
Oh,
do it.
yeah. Yes. All right. So hang on. Can I have you commit to posting on our community post what you've written
Okay.
every day or
Yes.
every other day or whatever you feel comfortable doing?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Stay tuned, everybody. Daniel is going to be writing for NaNoWriMo. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I am so glad that I'm not doing it so that he had to do it. Yeah.
Wait,
awesome. Cool.
I would have done it if you had done it.
Well, would you have done
I
it
would
if
have
I
been
did
happier
it? Oh.
doing it with a buddy, but
Happier. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Daniel. You're going to have to write an angry book. But no, that's awesome. Oh, that is so
Thank you.
exciting. I am so excited about that. Yes. Awesome.
don't tell my
No,
family.
but honestly, I can't do it. Okay.
Just kidding.
Daniel will not be sleeping for the next month.
If you're still watching at this point, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want more content like this, we post new videos a couple times a week. So be sure to hit your notification button so that you can not miss any of our content.
Yeah. Hi. If you enjoyed that, then maybe you should watch this. Or maybe it's on this side. I don't know. I don't know how this works.